Yes, people, and welcome back to the channel. Let me just make sure the audio is make sure my audio is working, because just lately we've had a couple of audio issues. We have got the Bayern Munich Celtic game on right now. I was going to do a watch along, but I've just watched EastEnders and stuff, so couldn't really start due to time for that. And anyone that's watching EastEnders, you'll know it's a big week with the anniversary week. Yeah, absolute madness if you watch that. Some people don't, some people do. I do. Let's get straight into it. So obviously, first of all, you know how it goes on the previews. We're going to dive straight into Slot's press conference, see what the socials are saying, give our lineup prediction, and then we give our score prediction. So let's get straight into the thing of things. So Arne Slot gives his confirms on Gakpo and Joe Gomez blows, injury updates, and a bit about tomorrow's game. So let's get straight into it. So obviously, he speaks about after a 2-1 over Wolverhampton Wanderers on Sunday, the Reds rebuilt their 7-point lead. Buff at the top of the Premier League table, a win at Villa Park will put them 10 points clear and crank up the pressure on Arsenal. You suspect Liverpool will need to be up their levels to get 3 points. In the Midlands, though, they were far behind their best against Wolves. After a dominant first half, they almost let the game slip away. And obviously, Slot is set to provide his fitness update on this morning with Cody Gakpo, and missed the game on Sunday with a foot issue. And a bit about Aston Villa here. Aston Villa performed well in the Champions League and the FA Cup this season, although their league form has been inconsistent, and at the weekend they only managed to draw against Ipswich Town, who played the majority of the game with 10 men. It leaves them 9th in the table going into this contest. Ian Doyle and Theo Screws will be in attendance in to speak to the Slot. Stick up with us for the build-up, and I reckon. And updates and reaction to what the Liverpool boss has to say. So all done. That's about Arne Slot. So let's get straight into it here. So Arne Slot speaks about the injuries of Jota. He has role like others. He did so well before his injury. We missed him for 3 to 4 months. We have missed the number 9 who played the first 7 or 8 games in every game. Now he is back. He played 60 minutes versus Wolves, and we don't expect him to play 90, but we hope he's involved in 3 games. Obviously, Aston Villa, Manchester City, and Newcastle. So it looks like Jota is still fit, and obviously that's what Ian Doyle asked Slot about. So let's get straight more into it. He speaks on Joe Gomez. He will miss large parts of the end of the season, but we expect him to be back. He might need surgery, but that's something we will still have to assess. Obviously, it looks like Joe Gomez is going to miss large parts of the season. Obviously, there's not an inkling on how much Joe Gomez is going to miss, but obviously it's looking like key words here that he might need to have surgery. So basically, he's going to need surgery. He's going to miss large parts of the season. It's not ideal, going into the rest of the season with only 3 recognised centre-backs in Jarell Kwanzaa, Virgil van Dijk, and Ibrahim Konate. And obviously, we know players like Endo can play there as well. So obviously, also another thing, Slot did speak about recharging players mentally. Depends on how the last game went. After Everton game, wasn't surprised to me that players were more tired than maybe in previous games. All things that happened in the last 8 minutes cost us a lot of energy for everyone involved. That's why you can't compare tomorrow to last Sunday. We didn't play our best football, but to go away with the win gives us a different reaction to the Everton game. Not everyone was tired. 1 or 2 players look exhausted. We have managed many times to get a win over the line, and won a lot of games with 1 goal difference. But Newcastle United at home and Everton, sometimes you can see the last minutes of the game. It gives you confidence. We got the win versus Wolves. We take the confidence from the last 20 minutes versus Everton as well. To be honest with you, the Wolves win. There's been a couple of times this season, obviously, where Liverpool have dropped points late. Obviously, the Newcastle game 3-3, Manchester United game 2-2, and Everton 2-2. It's not ideal to have these performances, but as long as they're once in a blue moon, you can kind of like allow it. Now, what we don't want is another performance like the Everton game. The Everton game is a bit different to the Wolves game and stuff because the Everton game is a derby. That is effectively their cup final. It's the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. So there was always going to be up for it. It was always going to be one of the toughest fixtures. And it always is every year. Let's not act like Goodison Park, Everton away, is not one of the toughest games. Everton away at Goodison Park, I would genuinely say in the Premier League, it's up there in probably in the top 3 toughest away places to go to. You probably say Goodison and the Etihad. I mean, our record there speaks for itself. I believe we only won at Goodison twice under Klopp, 4-1 and the 2-1. No, sorry, the 1-0 late winner from Mane. And obviously at the Etihad, we haven't won there since 2015. So they are effectively tough games. And obviously the Wolves game, Wolves is always tough. I remember we won there in the title. We won there 2-1 at the Molineux. We beat them 1-0 at Anfield. Do you know what I mean? Let's not act like Wolves at home sometimes, it's a tough game. Do you know what I mean? So Liverpool just have to make sure this is not a regular thing, because if it becomes a regular thing, that's where it becomes worrying. I watched a YouTube video yesterday and I heard someone on a panel saying Liverpool have not played well for since Christmas. I'm like, excuse me, we've not had a convincing win since Christmas. Okay, what about Tottenham 4-0 in the League Cup? Ipswich 4-0 up at half time. Like, what are we doing here? Let's go a bit more down. Slot again on experienced players like Alisson, Salah, and Van Dijk. Obviously, Alisson made some big saves. It helps. They are used to playing in the big games in their career with a lot of pressure, like Maka, who has won the World Cup. Everton away is hostile experience, so it helps if you've already been there. That's why it helped Conor Bradley with the first one, and he'll get many more used to it. The more experience you have playing in the bigger games, the better it is. Some young players don't have the experience of big games, but make the right decisions because of their quality. We must not overvalue experience, but it does help. Obviously, you just spoke about that. Let's have a look. We'll read here on Endo, because Endo put in an absolute performance and half. I believe he actually won man of the match when he came on against Wolves. So do you know what I mean? So let's get more into that. Ouattara has been really useful for this season. Not always in the amount of minutes you play, but you can play important for 2 minutes and less important for 90 minutes. What makes Ouattara so special is that every time we have to rely on him, he shows up. If a player has had a lot of playing time and you can be mentally strong to bring you best performance, that's not easy. One thing is, defending is more easy than creating. If you have to play a player who needs to create after not many minutes, it's more difficult. That's, again, I can understand that. Ouattara Wendo for Liverpool this season has been absolutely brilliant when coming on. Arnie Slot has kind of used him as one of the best impact subs that goes under the radar. Like when Liverpool are, let's say, 1-0 up or 2-0 up or 2-1 up with 10 minutes to go, Liverpool bring on Ouattara Wendo, and he just comes on. He gets those little challenges. He wins the ball back where not many people really tend to be picking up on that. You saw at the end of the Wolves game with a minute or two to go, he ends up winning a foul outside the cop near the corner, and that just feels like a goal. It's just we've just gone 3-1 up, and that foul effectively got us over the line. Because many moments later, the referee blew his whistle. Do you know what I mean? So little things like that. Slot final experience winning the league. It helps if you've already experienced it, not just me, but the players. But it's difficult to take it from their different players, teams, and leagues. Yesterday, Barcelona were close to conceding the 1-1. It's an end phase of season when results like this are quite common. It tells you just have a team that fights to the end. These games you need to win. Slot on Wolves' nerves. Yeah, because that Wolves game was probably the most nerve-wracking I've been, and nerve-wracking Liverpool fans have been this season. It's because we are coming towards the end of the season. We played more games away from home where we have won by 1 goal. I remember Palace when Yaros had to make a big save. We didn't need a big save versus Wolves, but people are talking about nerves. When you are only leading by 1 goal, it's going to need a lot of defending and hard work. A lot of people talk about nerves at this stage of the season. Not me, yeah, because Slot is not going to want to put pressure on his players like, yo, lads, I know it was a nerve-wracking game, but let's try not to make this happen again. Do you know what I mean? Like, as fans, we can be nervous. For players, it's a bit different because they are ultimately the ones that are deciding on the football pitch. Obviously, we don't care about Marcus Rashford. Fuck Rashford. Slot and Villa. I mean, look, the Villa game is going to be a tough game. Oh, this could be interesting. Slot maybe on maybe going 10 points clear. I see it as 13 games we played, and the next one is the most important one. Villa away is also like Wolves at home, difficult one. They have a great home record, maybe more than they play in the evening. We know it's going to be a challenge, but we know we have quite okay away record this season. We do have a good away record this season, and we've been brilliant on that. Obviously, Slot does speak a bit more about on the injuries to certain players. Cody and Joe are unavailable for tomorrow. Cody is close to being back, and Joe will be quite a long way with a hamstring. Obviously, we know that Joe Gomez is obviously going to need surgery. It was a big blow for us and him. He tried everything to be with the team and worked hard, and then the first game he makes his sprint, and now he's out for a while. It's very hard for a player at this point this season, especially. Arnie in the house. Yeah. So yeah, Arnie Slot has done his press conference, spoke about the players. And yeah. Right, we're back. Sorry about that. Where was I? Obviously, we've just done the press conference. Yeah, like I was saying before we get into my lineup prediction, I think Joe Gomez will be sold in the summer. I think that's something that we can predict based off Joe Gomez's injury now that he's going to need surgery. He's barely played much minutes this season as usual. Do you know, and then obviously Liverpool had a situation in the summer where we could have sold Joe Gomez to like a Palace and Newcastle where he was linked to. And I'm of the opinion from seeing Fabrizio today has confirmed that he expects Liverpool to go and get a big centre-back in the summer. Now, obviously, I think we'll have to sell a centre-back. Now, whether Liverpool decides to keep Joe Gomez, we potentially go and loan Jarrell Kwanzaa. Obviously, we're going to want to keep Virgil, and we're not going to sell Canate. So I think that's very easy to predict. Now, let's get into our lineup prediction. In goal, it's going to be Alisson. I think that's nice and easy to predict unless somebody gets injured before tomorrow's game. Touch wood. At right back, I expect Trent Alexander-Arnold to start. You know, I think he played what was it, like 60-odd minutes-ish, 65 minutes against Wolves. Again, didn't really put in a great performance, Trent. And I'm hoping this time around with Villa's high line and stuff, you know, he can get some crosses into the box and passes into the box, and he can really enjoy his attacking game. I expect to have a big part in tomorrow's game, Alexander-Arnold, and hopefully he does. At left back, I think it will be Andy Robertson. To be fair with Robertson, I don't think he's actually been as bad. At the first part of the season, he was fucking dreadful. But in the past couple of games, his performances have slightly improved. I won't say fucking massively, but they have improved his performances. So I do think he'll keep the place at left back. It's obviously going to be a man like Virgil van Dijk. I think, again, just an easy one to predict. Same with Canate. I mean, I think Canate and Van Dijk start unless they are both having stinkers, like you saw half time the other day where Canate got hooked, Kwanzaa came on. Canate was just being stupid, driving the ball into midfield and just losing it, and then going back and fouling, just making stupidity decisions. That's the thing. That's the only thing I have an issue with Canate. I believe he has the capability to be an absolute worldly of a beast of a centre back, top 3, top 4 in the world. He needs to improve on stupidity, like dumb, idiotic decisions that he does. In the midfield, is obviously going to be Gravenberch alongside Alexis McAllister. Again, nice and easy ones to predict. Now, slightly obviously mentioned Curtis Jones, so I suspect he should be back, Curtis, and hopefully he will. I'm pretty sure he actually came on the other day, didn't he? So yeah, at right wing it's obviously going to be Mohamed Salah. At left wing with a high line, Cody Gakpo is obviously not going to play, so it's obviously going to be Lucho Diaz. I think Luis Diaz will play off the left. I actually thought he had a good game. Got a goal, created a penalty. Good 70-odd minutes that he played off the left. I want to see him go back there. To me, the only way Luis Diaz plays down the middle for me now is if basically 1, Jota is injured, 2, we're playing against like a Spurs where we can capitalize the high line, play Diaz in behind, we can cross the box and Diaz can win a header. Against teams like that, other than that, I don't really want to be seeing him down the middle. I think I've seen a kind of enough of the experiment, in my opinion. And obviously in the 10 is obviously going to be Dominic Szoboszlai. Down the middle is going to be Jota. So that is my predicted 11 to take on Wolves. I think, again, that's probably a decent lineup to play. Alisson, Trent, Canate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, Salah, Szoboszlai, Diaz, and Jota. Let's get into my score prediction. I am going with Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 3. I think Liverpool will get the 3 points. You know, they beat them early in the season. This is also on FootMob, a predicted lineup that they expect to play. They've actually got Darwin starting ahead of Jota. And this is the Aston Villa team that is expected to be starting Mings, Disasi, Rashford is going to be in there. That's going to be interesting. He actually looked all right on his debut in the FA Cup against Tottenham. Morgan Rogers is obviously going to be a problem. Absolute baller, one of the best players probably in the midfield in the 10 role this season. Watkins is obviously going to be looking to continue, scoring a couple of goals. Obviously, it looks like they have got Buda Kamara as well. They've got a couple of injuries, Leon Bailey. Yeah, so it does look like Curtis did not pick up anything following the Wolves game. So obviously, it's Canate, Tyler Morton, and Jarrell Kwanzaa out. So yeah, they've actually got Gomez out till early May. Wouldn't be surprised with that. Aston Villa's form this season. In the past 5 games, 2 wins. One was in the Cup, one was in the Champions League. So they've not actually won the league in any of the last 5. Let's get the table up. As for Liverpool, they have a chance to extend their leads by 10 points. A lot of people are asking why Liverpool playing twice this week. The reason why is because obviously this Aston Villa game was meant to be played on the 16th of March, is when the Carabao Cup final is obviously Liverpool are in the final. So they've moved this game forward rather than pushing it back. So obviously you got things like Champions League in there. So obviously it just makes it sticky to try and fit that fixture in. As for Aston, they are sitting 9th. They need to be careful because they're getting to that stage now where obviously top 5 is looking like it's going to be Champions League. It doesn't look like 5th will be given. So obviously they will go to Europa League and 8th will go Conference. Oh no, will it be? Don't you get 3 teams in Europa League? Because who have we got in the Europa League this season? Tottenham, Man U, Chelsea's in Conference. Swear you normally get 3 teams in the Conference. I mean, in the Europa League. Because I swear we've had 3 before. I don't know. We'll have to. I think. Do Europa League get an extra spot? If it is based off the top 5, them 2, Aston Villa have got to be careful because you get to that point where you don't want to be falling behind because, New Man City have already built up a bit of a gap, 6 points for the top 4. Bournemouth are building a nice little 5-point lead. Same with the Chelsea, even though they've been garbage of lately. And obviously Newcastle, I expect them to go on a bit of a run. So it could be a bit of a shootout between Fulham and Aston Villa for Conference League. Obviously, Aston Villa, to be honest with you, at the start of the season, you expected them to get minimum Conference League after the back of last season and expecting them to continue their form. Their last 5 games in the Premier League is beat Everton 1-0, 2-2 Arsenal, 1-1 West Ham. They lost to Wolves and 1-1 against Ipswich. As for Liverpool in the Premier League, beat Brentford 2-0. We beat Ipswich 4-1. We beat Bournemouth 2-0, Everton 2-2, and Wolves 2-1. So get that nice little game in hand. Arsenal will have a game in hand, but ultimately they'll have to go and win that game in hand. I believe the game in hand for them will be Chelsea. So could be nice there, and we can have a nice 10-point lead because it effectively just puts more pressure on. They've got, who have they got this weekend? They've got West Ham. I mean, I don't expect West Ham to do something, but hopefully they can against Arsenal. And by the end of the weekend, Liverpool could end up being 11, 12 points this weekend. And Arsenal only have a game in hand. So fingers crossed they can bottle it to West Ham. And obviously we've got Manchester City. We'll speak more about that when it comes closer to the time. But Liverpool have just got to get the job done. Hence why I've predicted a 3-1 Liverpool win. But we will be doing a live watch along tomorrow night. Let's get into some of the comments before we go. Yeah. Big win, I reckon, 4-2. Gakpo is a huge miss, man. I feel sorry for him because he's been brilliant this season. Gomez will be sold in the summer. I think he will because I think Liverpool will probably bring in a younger centre-back who can more likely stay fit. And I think we will probably, what I think Liverpool will do for the price that we sold Gomez for will probably be around the price that we'll probably bring in a centre-back for and probably look to do like with what we're doing with Madavashvili, where we're bringing that long-term successor for Alisson. I think that would be for Virgil van Dijk or Konate. Saturday, yeah, get them for fuck's sakes. Yes, Saturday is going to be a mad one. I'll explain more tomorrow night. It's going to be a mad stream. But yeah, take care. We will be back tomorrow for the live watch along. Up the Reds, 3-1 Liverpool.